Welcome to the Real Estate 401k Show. Here are your hosts, Ryan Gerdes, Mike Weinstein, and Justin Frederick, helping you build a legacy of wealth through real estate. Powered by the Recon Group at West USA and the Frederick team with Fairway Mortgage. NMLS number 625918.
Well, welcome to the Real Estate 401k Show. I'm your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Justin Frederick from where are you from again? Fairway Independent Mortgage. Let's go with that today.
Sounds good.
And Ryan Gerdes.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
I think that was your best introduction ever.
All right, so this is, first week of 2024. So again, Happy New Year to everybody. And so for a lot of people, I think I'm not a big fan necessarily of New Year's resolutions. I'm more goal-oriented. I don't think of, okay, here's my resolutions. I'm going to change this. I'm going to change this. I'm fat. I'm overweight. I eat crappy. I've been trying for 50 some odd years.
You drink a little.
I drink a little, a smidge.
Yeah.
But I'm more goal oriented. I love to sit down and say, okay, these were my goals for 2023. This is where I'm at with those goals, and let's reassess or set new goals for 2024. And I think one of the common goals that I hear from the people that I talk with and a lot of our clients is 2024, it's the year I'm going to buy my first home, I'm going to buy my second home, or I'm going to buy that next investment property for my portfolio. So Justin, I want to start with you. I am a first-time home buyer, or I haven't bought a property in a long time, and I now need to get qualified, or I need to talk to a lender. What do I do? The first step, I think I just gave it away. The first step is talk to your lender,
Right.
Or a lender. But what are the things that I should be doing, and what shouldn't I do before I talk to a lender?
So don't buy a car. Don't buy a car. I feel like one of the most common mistakes before buying a house is people go out and buy a car. Wait until after you acquire your home. Wait until you have the keys in your hand at least before you go actively pursue a vehicle. What you should be doing is, honestly, don't worry about putting all your financials and everything like that together. We're going to collect everything. We're going to tell you exactly what we need in order to get this pre-qualification together. Anything that you give us as far as application information, you're doing the best you can, but we don't expect it to be 100% accurate. Now, your social security number or dates of birth, they need to be accurate, right? But get in the application with us. Those applications help us to determine your financial worthiness or help you get in better shape for your financial worthiness. Then we're going to request your supporting income documentation and assets. And it could be as little as I need a pay stub and your most recent W-2. It could be as most as I need business tax returns, personal tax returns, pay stubs, W-2s, multiple bank statements. But don't jump on that until we review your file. Once we review your file, we don't want you doing anything outside of what we actually need. So we'll tell you exactly what we need from there, and then we can guide you on, hey, we're ready to go now for this specific purchase price. If we want to increase, this is what we'll need to do. If we need to work on credit, no problem. We can work on credit, things like that.
I think one of the mistakes that I see people making is, okay, I go to credit.com or whatever, I don't know those websites because I have you. And so before I talk to a lender, I'm going to do a credit check, get my credit reports. I see I have a collections here. I got this and I got that. And people go, well, I'm going to take care of all of this stuff or get rid of all of my debt before I talk to Justin. And oftentimes, some of the things that they set out to do, they didn't need to do, and sometimes they hurt themselves. I think that, to me, that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make.
That's a great point. And I see that as a big mistake as well, because we have systems and simulators that we can run to make that more effective or help you save some money from paying off. Sometimes paying off collections don't positively affect you at all. Sometimes paying your credit card to zero can hurt you. And I think a lot of people are like, why? Well, you need to have credit card activity, and sometimes carrying that balance of $1 or up to maybe 20% can give you a better FICO score than if you had a $0 balance. But
Just don't ask us how it works.
yeah,
It just
yeah.
works.
So yeah, I would prefer to have that conversation. If you're planning on buying in a year from now, but you know you have some credit issues, I would rather talk to you right now and tell you what the plan should be, because I can run simulators on 6 months. I can run simulators on 1 year and how it can impact your score, and tell you exactly what to do and how long it will take to positively impact your score to get us to where we need to be or where you want to be.
So right now, text the word credit to 623-AZ-RECON. That's credit to 623-AZ-RECON. We're going to introduce you to Justin and his team. I didn't know, Ryan, if you had something you wanted to add to that, but because I wanted to take us in a different direction.
Right. But so the cardinal rule, I think that the other thing is that when we're dealing with times of opportunity, which there is, a lot of people try to make employment shifts. And so, anything that's going to adversely affect your credit, anything that's going to really adversely affect your assets, but your income. So I have so many people that run into me and they're like, well, I'm going to put down 30% and I have all this cash in the bank. And I'm like, well, that's great. But you need a loan to cover the difference. And banks are pretty darn concerned about your ability to pay back that loan that they're giving you. And if you decide that you're going to quit your job of 20 years because you're going to start up your own business, then you're setting yourself up for failure. So these are just a handful of the cardinal rules, and so that's probably the only one that you guys didn't really talk about.
So, Ryan, we often see, we work with a lot of buyers who just, they want to go out and look at homes, or when they get ready to get serious about buying a home, then they're going to talk to the lender. And I think it's such a huge mistake. First of all, time is money. And for me, there is no point in going out and looking at homes that you want to move into until you find out, one, whether you can get qualified for a loan or what price point that you're at. I hate when people go out and they fall in love. That's what we had some clients, I'd say about 6 to 8 months back, friends of mine. So I'm like, all right, let's go out and take a look at homes. They didn't want to talk to Justin yet. And they found their price range. This is what they want. This is what we got to have. Then we sent them over to Justin, and they couldn't qualify for that price point. And then that put them in a very negative headspin of, well, then we're just going to wait till we can qualify for that price point, so we're going to rent. And then when they can qualify for that price point, that house will no longer be at that price point.
Yeah, and so there's always that beer budget on champagne tastes and whatnot, and that's what a lot of people fall victim to when it's their first or second time type of property. You're gonna have to make some compromises. It is a give take. That's why we talk about a real estate 401k plan, and we really drive that in because so. If I was to talk to you right now, I'm going to give you a different answer of what I've given you 2-3 years ago. Okay,
Facts.
so we're going to adjust your model, right? Whereas, so like 2 years ago, if we were talking, I'd say, hey, you need to marry this house and be committed to staying here for a few years, maybe 4, before we can start really getting you in a good equity position to move into door number 2. This year, I'm going to say probably commit to only about 2, right? Because I feel like in the next 2 years, you're going to have enough of an appreciation and enough of an equity position that's going to strategically and financially make it so that you can have passive income. You're going to be in a good enough equity position to go and buy door number 2 without it hurting too much, right? Because there's an incubation period in there from when you buy something to when you can actually start making good cash flow on it. Because rent usually is about a couple of years behind.
Yeah.
So that being said, we had some relaxation in the market over the past couple of years because Justin, he is personally responsible for raising all interest rates out there.
Jerk.
So it's Justin's fault. No, all jokes aside, we knew that market was not sustainable. When you're seeing 5, 6, 7% increases in appreciation on a property month over month, with interest rates at 2.75, you don't need to be a genius to know that that's not going to last forever. So something had to give. And then it did. And it was pretty much exactly how we predicted it.
Yeah.
And said, okay, we're going to be in a little bit of a trough here for the next couple of years. And already, I mean, we're rebounding faster than I thought we would. Matter of fact, I kind of feel like some people haven't been burned hard enough. They made a lot of mistakes that I was just like, man, this type of thinking, you guys, well, or lack thereof, doesn't work as a long sustainable business. And so some people are still making money when I was like, man, maybe I'm the fool here. Maybe I should have been a little bit more aggressive, because I think that I thought that we would have a little bit more of a slowdown than we've actually had. And I mean, that's great for us, right? Because our portfolios didn't get hit as hard as we thought. And the stuff that we're going to be acquiring through this next year is probably going to do way better than what all of my predictions are on paper with. So I think that to kind of go back to my point, understand that you're making about a 2 or 3 year commitment to live in this home if you're a first or second time home buyer before you're going to move out. So don't unpack all your boxes. Don't get too darn comfortable. Don't put in $100,000 pool. Don't do any of these crazy things. This is just a stepping stone to get you towards your dream home and build out your portfolio.
All right. If you would like to sit down with one of our real estate wealth managers and start building out your real estate investment strategy, or if you're a first-time home buyer and you want to start thinking about real estate, or if you want to talk to Justin and find out where you qualify and what your, would you say, purchase worthiness or credit worthiness? Would you call it?
Your credit worthiness
Your
is
buying power.
Our buying power.
Buying
is a great
power
word
is,
for it.
all right. Go ahead and text the word credit to 623-AZ-RECON. That's credit to 623-AZ-RECON. Now, Justin, I know you're got a tiptoe around this, but I do want to bring up 1099s and independent contractors who we, as independent contractors, it's give or take. There's a lot of things that we can do to write off a lot of our income so that we don't owe Uncle Sam as much money. But on the flip side, what you show as income could possibly be too low to qualify for a home. And yes, you make so much money, but yet you
You're not
write
claiming
off
it.
so much,
Yeah.
it can become problematic. So if I'm an independent contractor and I'm now starting to think about taxes, what are some of the things that I need to keep in mind, and how long do I've got to show a steady income? Because that's the other thing is I say, before you do your taxes, the question you need to know is how much income do I need to show to be able to qualify for the home that I want to buy?
So that's why it's important to get pre-qualified right now. If you're an independent contractor and you're looking to buy later on, well, you go through a pre-qualification right now, and let's say you've only been in business you've had 2 filed tax returns. Well, I can look at the 2 filed tax returns and say, hey, you don't qualify at this, but hint, hint, this is what it'd take to qualify, and tax season's coming up. So I'm not doing any coaching there, right?
You're not an accountant or a CPA.
Keep in mind, I want to remind everybody that if you're using your vehicle for business, which when you're a business owner, you typically are, you need to put those miles down, because those miles count as money back towards you. You need to keep track of that. A lot of people find it very difficult to do, but it counts towards money back.
Especially if you're changing your own oil.
I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I want to remind everybody too, if you have your business or you're 1099, you are self-employed. You need to be paying for things through your business account. If you've used your business account for 12 months to pay for your business vehicle, wonderful. Well, we don't have to count that liability against you personally, which helps you qualify. So it's all about debt to income ratios, and we can talk to you about what some of those guidelines are and possibly help you for the future of qualifying.
Well, the other thing that you have to keep in mind if you're an independent contractor, as a lender, you're not an accountant.
Correct.
And contrary to what your accountant may tell you, he's not a lender. So I see a lot of times when my accountant says, in order for me to qualify, I need to do this, but they're not a lender and you're not an accountant. So oftentimes that's why I think it's always great to start with you, because you can give me the information that I need to relay to my accountant. My lender says I need to show this much income in order to qualify for a $450,000 house. So Mr. and Mrs. Accountant, do your magic.
And keep in mind, I'm not really allowed to be doing any coaching, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you can do with the information that I provide you, and you can figure it out from there. And you know, a lot of independent contractors that we talk to, they collect a lot of cash, which they don't actually put on the books, and maybe in this cases, this is something that you might want to do if you're looking to qualify for a specific loan amount that you can't qualify for now. But we can definitely tell you, hey, this is where you're at. I know your goal was this. This is probably what your next tax return should look like if you're able to do that, if you made enough income to produce that.
So there's a bunch of people out there that do their own taxes, or, hey, my mom, she has TurboTax software, so she does it. Let's talk about the types of people what's that threshold when they need to go get an actual professional? So what's their income like? What's their employment like? What are their assets like before they need to say, all right, Mom, love you, but you're no longer doing my taxes for me?
I mean, in a lot of people's cases, I've seen people that have done their own taxes and they're making they're netting a few $100,000 a year. Now, is there write-offs that I bet you they're missing? Absolutely. Absolutely. I bet you that accountant pays for themselves. And to be honest with you, I mean, if I was self-employed, which I'm not, but if I was self-employed and I was doing, I don't know, I was doing $60,000 a year, I would already be in a CPA's office making sure that I'm doing that. It's such a small cost to get your taxes done properly when you're talking about paying the IRS or saving yourself some money on paying the IRS, or making sure your taxes are proper. Now, I know TurboTax says that they ask you all these questions, but even when I was a W-2 employee, or I still am a W-2 employee, but when I wasn't doing that well, I would do my own TurboTax, and then I ended up meeting an accountant, and she was like, bring your taxes in, just let me take a look. And I ended up getting thousands of dollars back from the IRS when I didn't have a lot going on in my life, but I had more going on in my life than what I realized I had going on. And I don't understand tax law.
And I would say for me, if you own one home and you and your spouse or just you are W-2'd, TurboTax is fine.
Yeah.
The minute that you are an independent contractor, because our accountant's the greatest in the world. Love you, Cindy. She's the best in the world. She always tells me, she goes, everybody sees it wrong. They look at the IRS tax code and cringe and think the IRS tax code is out to get us. She says the IRS tax code is out to save you money. You just got to figure out how to save you money. So when you're an independent contractor, and I like that number of $60,000 a year, you're not necessarily hiring an accountant to prepare your taxes. You're hiring your accountant to figure out how to take advantage of what's in the tax code.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that 60,000 as well. I think that the other, strings attached are single, all W-2 money, and you don't really own any real assets, right? Then you can pretty much get away with doing it by yourself, or having your mom do it and do it through TurboTax or whatever. But the moment that you start, you're either married or you
got kids.
You got kids. You have
medical
you
expenses.
Yeah, you start having these life-changing events that are going to help you. To your point, those tax codes are out there to provide you the roadmap of how to save money and make more.
Well, I just got a text message. We just lost our sponsorship from TurboTax. So.
Oh, damn.
All right. Well, if you like to, I don't even know how we started this episode. It was a great conversation. Gentlemen, I look forward to it was a great 2023 doing this with you. Looking forward to a phenomenal 2024. And more importantly, we look forward to helping so many of you that tune into this show multiple times a week. We look forward to helping you build wealth in real estate. If you'd like to discuss strategy, if you'd like to talk to Justin and his team and see where you stand today of what you qualify for or building that roadmap, we want to get you in front of Justin. All you got to do is text the word credit to 623-AZ-RECON. That's credit to 623-AZ-RECON.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate 401k Show. If you want more information on how to build wealth, click on the link or text us at 623-297-3266. That's 623-AZ-RECON.